Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. We've got a great show lined up. None other than Lisa Lawson joining us. Hey, Lisa.
Morning, everybody.
There she is on the Zoomcast. We bring in special guest, Jordan Goodman, DOBI Real Estate out in Birmingham. Hey, Jordan, what's happening?
Good morning, Harvey. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having me.
All right. Fantastic. Jordan, he's back. That's right, folks. And we're going to announce it to everyone out there, all the young ladies out there. This guy's a total stud. He's back from Manhattan, New York. He's back from LA and Chicago. He's back in Detroit to sell homes. DOBI Real Estate is where you'll find him. He's single and he's back. But Jordan,
not to do this to me live on the air, man. What are you doing?
I said I wasn't going to do it to you. You don't have time for any women or a date. You're out there selling homes, my friend, and truly appreciate you coming on this morning. But it's been busy. I know I've been talking to you. You're always busy. You couldn't talk to me yesterday. We're showing homes.
It's been crazy to say the least, but it's been fun. You know, it comes with the territory. So especially, the commercial experience kind of allows me to be a little bit more detached with everything. And there, commercial is no emotion, whereas residential is all emotion, like we were talking about the other day. So that's kind of what drew me to gear more towards residential. And it's not a knock on commercial whatsoever, because, I have best friends who operate in the commercial industry every day, and we get along, very well on a personal level. But you mentioned dealing with emotions, and they run for the hills. So it's just kind of a personal preference for me. It's been a lot of fun. I love dealing on the emotion, and you just, in this market, kind of like we were talking about, you have to have somebody, especially if you're buying, to win these houses, you have to have somebody that genuinely cares about you as a person. And that's another thing. I think, talk to anybody that knows me. One thing I've been good at my entire life is I'm very good at caring. So it works out in my benefit.
No doubt. Hey, Lisa, the passion, there's the passion for somebody moving over from the commercial side to the residential side. And Lisa, we know it is all emotion. Boy, there's a lot going on when you're buying a house, especially if you have to sell another one, and especially in today's market.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of emotion. And so the fact that you say that you're, an emotional guy and you're in tune to people's needs, I think that's a really important thing. You have to be a good listener to be successful in this business. Sometimes you have to listen between the lines. I know they say it's read between the lines, but you can hear hesitation in people's voices, a lot of body language. And if you're not picking up on all of those cues, you're going to have a little bit more of a difficult time. So, it's a very emotional process. People don't always say what they mean, or they don't know how to say what they mean. Especially in negotiations. So dealing with someone who's got some expertise is always, the best option.
It's so personal too, Jordan. I like what you brought up last night. We had a quick chat last night. We were talking about just the emotions involved and really having that trust and building your team. You could, when you're dealing with the commercial side of things, it's like it's a corporation you're dealing with. And it's not really, they're not going to be living there. They're buying it for a short time. Might be buying a building to lease it out for 5 or 6 years and then sell it. They have an exit strategy. This is different. You're going to raise your family there. And when you're sitting down with people now, especially over the last 2 years, it's been different with the pandemic. What are you seeing now with buyers? What are some of the buyers looking for, or some of the people you're working with? What do you see they're looking for in today's market? What do they want in that house?
I mean, especially now with the velocity of the market, you have buyers now who are, they're looking for the perfect home, but they're kind of almost going into, I don't want to say discouraged, but they're going into, they know they're going to have to make multiple offers. They know they're probably going to have to look at, 5-10 houses. This is actually kind of causing some controversy in my world. So the MLS has a new feature, the coming soon feature. I was talking to you about this the other day. So a realtor marks a property coming soon on the MLS. So I can see it's coming soon on the MLS. A buyer has no way of knowing it's coming soon, because the market's moving so fast right now. Before you can mark something coming soon, you can technically do it up to 3 days before it goes live. So 3 days, the property's a lot of times done before it even goes live on the MLS.
Lisa, it's like they got their own built-in pocket listings now, even, and stuff. So we talk about this competition. Is it cooling off at all? I mean, there was some numbers out. I'm going to probably get to the numbers later in the show. And if you want to join us, 248-539-9797, 1 hour of mortgages and real estate, always on the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Jordan Goodman, DOBI Real Estate. And again, we continue the conversation with, is it cooling off at all? I mean, I don't know. Memorial weekend, they said the numbers were a little cooler last week, but other than that, I just see here that regionally, nothing's cooling down.
I mean, listen, summer's always crazy, so it's very hard for me to say that it's going to cool down when we're literally getting into the hottest as I'm melting in my office right now. But
right.
It's also, I was talking to my managing broker about this last week. He's been saying, to his clients, it's going to cool down next month for the past 5 months. He's been saying
right.
So it's very hard to say. And money, you know this more than anybody. Money is super cheap right now.
Everyone wants a piece of that.
Everybody wants to buy. Everybody wants to refinance, take money out, and do work on their homes and sell them. So I really don't see it slowing down soon. It's hard to say whether it will keep at this velocity with 14, 15 offers on every home, but I can't predict when it will slow down. I don't want to. That'd be sticking my foot in my mouth in this market.
Right. Lisa, even if they cut that in half, 14, 15 offers on how you cut that in half, that's more than we ever had in our careers of real estate. We've never seen anything like this after the pandemic.
Well, it's also, we were talking about, sorry, not to cut you off. We were talking the other day about just the commercial guys. They're also in the pond now. So I was talking to my buddy the other day, he's a buddy of mine from college who lives out east, called me about a group of properties that they're looking to buy in Mount Clemens. Just, on their end, the bottom line makes sense. And it's just, buyers now have to plan for that when they're going after homes. So now, more important than ever, you need an agent that can navigate those waters, because you're not only going up against, Joe and his family, but now you're going up against corporations who have bottom lines to hit.
You're right. I mean, you have first-time home buyers that are out here struggling to get their offers accepted, right? So obviously we have to kind of coach them and all that stuff, but you're absolutely right. I mean, you have that first-time home buyer that's coming out of the gate, maybe buying a $200,000-$300,000 house that are competing with investors, right? Because to them, they have the capital to do so. You have repeat buyers they're competing with. So it has been a lot of life coaching. And like we were talking about that emotion element, I also think that we double as life coaches, because we have to literally handhold everyone from A to Z on these transactions. I mean, I have a first-time home buyer right now where they wrote a $5,000 appraisal guarantee. Appraisal came in, I don't know, I think it was like $18,000 light. Okay. So we can deal with it. The sellers are going to come down, right? So she's now getting this property at a $12,000 discount. Great. But now she's having buyer's remorse a little bit, because she was, well, we accounted for the 5,000. We talked about the 5,000, but now I have to come up with this extra 5,000. And that might have been something that she was using in her mind as like just, fake money. I don't know, but now it's real. And so now it's just a lot of having those conversations over again that we had in the beginning, just letting them know, like, listen, you're never ready to buy a house, just like you're almost never ready to have children. You just have to do it. You have to invest in your own future. It makes sense to do so. Why keep paying someone else's mortgage payment at $1,600 a month when you can own your own home for $15 and invest in yourself, because the interest rates are so low right now? It just, just really making sure, people understand that. It's just, if you're on the fence and thinking about buying and you're renting right now, start the conversation ASAP with us, because it makes so much sense to invest in your future, your equity versus someone else's bottom line.
Yeah, the rents are through the roof. Jordan, Becky, that's Becky Yaley, top 1% of all originators in the United States. Thanks for joining us, Beck. I love having you guys on. This is a great panel this morning. If you want to join, 248-539-9797. There was an article that creeped into the Freep this morning. I got the newspaper here, the old-fashioned newspaper, and if you want to read it, there was some talk, Jordan, about millennials facing a little bit of regret about buying recently. So there was a recent data that said there are some, they rushed into it. They don't quite love the location. Maybe the exit strategy with the appreciation that they have, if you don't like it nowadays, if you buy something, you still can get out of it. It's just a little bit easier to sell a house in today's market. So you shouldn't regret it as much as maybe in years past.
No, and that's the one question, right? Resell when you come to buying. And honestly, I think that, it's like we were talking about the other day. I've lived in New York, Chicago, LA. I've rented in all those cities. I've rented in downtown Detroit as of most recent. Downtown Detroit is now charging more all in than I was paying in Chicago, including parking and everything, more to live.
What? That's
downtown
crazy.
than it was in Chicago.
Chicago's through the friggin' roof.
And LA and New York were more than both of them. So it's just very, there's seldom a case you could put it on someone's desk where it makes sense for a rent, especially here right now, where it makes sense to be a renter.
All right, and the second home, vacation home, still very hot market out there, multiple bids, just like you're seeing on your own primary residence. Quickly, families realizing that they can work anywhere. They can work from home, they can work at their vacation home, anywhere in the United States. So these vacation homes, these second homes and destination areas are just been booming. Again, you got all this competition out there. As Jordan mentioned, even his commercial people are looking at residential because it makes sense to get into the game. When we come back, all of your calls, 248-539-9797. We'll be back.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke from Capital Mortgage Funding. Over 30 years in the mortgage banking industry, hundreds of thousands of families served. Let us serve you. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Back to the show. We are brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289, Equal Housing Lender. You're listening to the Hardcore Mortgage Show in our 21st and a half year, 22 years coming up this year. We will give you information about buying a house, selling a house. If you need a great realtor, we got one on the line here, Jordan Goodman, DOBI Real Estate. We like the folks at DOBI. I'm coming by next week. Your signs are up all over Birmingham. Now I see them all over Metro Detroit. You guys are jamming. About what, Jordan, a couple of years you guys have started this brokerage?
2018 we started. Simon Thomas, I don't know if you know him, he was at Maxbrook for a long time, and kind of saw an angle in terms of agent support. So I came over from Keller Williams. Actually, I was going to start my my residential realm with Keller Williams. Simon brought me in for a meeting along with Crystal Blanc, our managing broker. The environment here, I mean, you're here for a couple minutes, you can just tell how happy everybody is to be here and how genuine Simon is when it comes to caring about his agents.
I like that kind of stuff.
We're involved in all the decision making. It's a very collaborative environment. There's people smiling when you come to work every day. It's a nice change of pace for what I'm used to. So it's been honestly nothing but a breath of
well,
fresh
Lisa,
air so
Becky,
far.
and I are going to drive over there. We like to see smiling real estate agents,
I told you, whenever you want.
Definitely, we'll come by and see you guys.
You guys got like an in-house barista too, don't you, or something like that? Like a little.
Sometimes, yeah. Those
Sometimes
videos,
you bring in the barista.
Videos are out there, but yeah, he comes more often than not. It's a good time.
Hey, I always want to throw
every
in the credit
day
on our show here. Of course, anyone out there, one of the things I came across this week too is I was so shocked when I ran one of the gentleman's credit report, and something so small. Lisa, you're our credit expert. Something so small, like he had closed down an account, or maybe it was an Amazon account. There was $7 or something weird left on it. It affected his credit score horribly. And it's so important. Here he is about to buy his house. He had 20 lines of credit over time and everything looks perfect. Boy, Lisa, one blemish when you're about to buy the house can really drop your score.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what that blemish is, but obviously if you have a 30-day late, people don't realize that depending on how many trade lines you have overall, let's say you've only got 4 open trade lines, and trade lines are like a line of credit, and one of them goes bad, that's from the aspect of a credit score, that's 25% of your credit, and all of a sudden your score tanks 50 points, 60 points, 70 points for just one 30-day late. And people don't understand that. Now, if you have 100 lines of credit, that would be different. Then you're looking at maybe 1%, but that's how it works. So sometimes, a very small thing like a $7 collection or a medical collection is a big one. Everyone's like, well, I heard medical collections don't affect you. And that's completely not true. So, you definitely need to pay attention to your bills. If you can't pay something on time, go into a payment arrangement, see if you can get assistance. There's other ways to deal with it before it hits your credit report and does some damage. Yeah,
we'll touch on credit again here. 248-539-9797. A lot of folks had frozen credit reports. There was fraud across the country. There's a lot of companies that got tapped into. So you got to be careful. Some of the companies took advantage. You were freezing your credit, which is good. But if you're going to run a credit report, and again, you're looking to buy a house, make sure you unfreeze the credit, and then you got to sort of put that back on. All right, tons to share with you this morning. Let's roll out to a call here this morning. We got Bill in Clarkston. Bill, you're about to sell your house. Tell us more about it. Go ahead, sir. Bill, you're live on the air. Go ahead. Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you
do their own thing. Yeah, Jordan Goodman, comment on that, please.
So, and Bob was your name?
It's Bill out in Clarkston.
Bill, sorry about that. So yeah, we were just talking about this the other day. You kind of took the words right out of our mouth. It kind of depends what you're looking for in your number. So I have a lot of clients where I walk in with staging and I'll tell them, this wallpaper has to come down, this paint needs to be changed, etc. But when you're talking about fixing cosmetic items, and especially a bathroom, I don't know how handy you are, who you would be having do the work, but stuff like that can dramatically increase your number. So you're probably talking about, spending $2,000 to $3,000, making $10,000 off the spend. So if it's a spend you can swallow and you can, maybe wait a couple months to sell the home, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to advise that you do it unless there's like a specific situation you have going on personally. Obviously I don't know you, and that's a conversation for another day, but I advise all my clients to do that stuff more often than not. That's a huge part of, especially right now, right? Because like you just said, everybody wants to just get it on the market and get it sold. People just kind of think they can let things slide, and you can, but there's money being left on the table more often than not, a lot more than people think.
Bill, thanks for the call. I appreciate that. And it's a call that we get often here. Becky, I was going to throw in to open up to our panel too, and Becky and Lisa. We see it so often. The real estate agents got to get in that house. They've got to get in there and they got to see what the other homes sold for. And did they have updated bathrooms and kitchens? And where is the money being spent in that subdivision? Jordan, I think we see that often. Becky, tell me a little bit about it, because you've gone through this so many different times.
Yeah, I want to definitely touch on that. So like what we're talking about is you have a home that might not be exactly up to date versus do you bring it up to times before you put it on the market. Well, you have these homes that are now being, you have to compare your home to other houses, right? So if you're trying to get 344 for a house, okay, but it hasn't been touched since 1950, okay, and that 344 sale that your listing agent might be saying, oh, we can get this all day long. If that 344 sale has been completely renovated, totally different house versus your 1950 inside interior wood paneling, whatever might be happening in there, which is nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't compare to a brand new kitchen, a brand new bathroom. So when these appraisals are coming in lower and everyone wants to like, oh my God, what are we going to do? I wrote this appraisal guarantee. Well, that is part of the reason is you're either going to be comparing to these up to date, fresh paint, fresh bathroom, backsplashes houses, or you're not. And these appraisers are going to adjust for it. Just because you're throwing, 30,000 at a house doesn't mean that the appraiser is going to come in here, because it has to be justified. And they're going to compare that house to all the houses that are just like your house, colonial ranches. So depending on, like you said, like what Jordan was mentioning, whatever your number is, does that include, do we need to update your home to get that number? And someone like Jordan is going to be able to tell you that because he's seeing what's selling and what they look like on the inside.
Jordan, maybe on the softer approach, we could pull down that old wallpaper, like you said, put some fresher colors in there. Maybe you are replacing a vanity, a mirror, things in there, a toilet.
It's just a lot of little things that have aesthetic appeal that you wouldn't think make a difference, but they truly do.
Lisa, it's not always easy also to get the workers out there, though. Jordan, you see the house, you want to sell it, and you sit down with the guy, and all of a sudden you decide, hey, we're going to do a bathroom remodel. This could take 3 months.
Especially right now, jobs that would normally take, 1 to 2 weeks, you're taking at least a month, 6 weeks. It's impossible to even get, I had to get mold cleaned out of an attic for my last client. It took us, I think it took us a month to even get a quote. Stuff is crazy. And that's it's coming into inspection periods. I've had to do a number of extended inspections just because people aren't, they can't get their quotes in time. So that's definitely another factor coming into play out there, a fun one.
All right. Good morning, everyone's just joining us here. It's June 12th, 2021, 9:24 here in the morning, Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We take all your calls, 248-539-9797. Always fun to talk mortgages and real estate for a quick hour. We got Pat Caputo coming up with sports, then Jeff Rieger, Tiger Baseball at 4 o'clock. Keep it here on 97.1, The Tickets. Nice to talk baseball here, especially on the radio here, right? Nice to talk about some other things this week. So definitely want to hear from you if you're out there looking to buy a house or sell some real estate. What a great day out. Again, 86 today, a little muggy, a little nicer day tomorrow with no rain in the forecast. So definitely get out there and get your golf game all set up. Staging a house has been really something popular for more and more families to get, more and more bang out of their house. But with today's marketplace and the lack of inventory, we're seeing all different things. Real estate agents need to get in your house. And Jordan, that's the one thing that's more and more, like we talk with the agents, they truly need to get in the house and find out what needs to be done. Lisa, you did some repairs last year. So we'll talk about that right when we get back, talking about getting people in there to do the work, what the cost of materials are, and a whole lot more. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back.
Hi, Harry Glanson Danberg from Capital Mortgage Funding. Over 30 years in the mortgage banking industry, hundreds of thousands of families served. Let us serve you. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
You can also always send us an email. Check us out. We got so many different email addresses. mortgageshow@lowrateonline.com. Just find us. Capital Mortgage Funding, the best mortgage banker. Again, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. We offer every mortgage out there. So if you are looking for a mortgage for a unique situation and lower credit scores, 600 and above FHA loans, we will get you all set up for success. Lisa Lawson, you're always working with us. We'll throw you in real quick, Lisa, with the MISHDA program out there, the $10,000 for selected zip codes. That's still going on. $7,500 through the state of Michigan. Lisa, people can buy houses. They got to find out where they fit into all this.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that program is great, especially for a first-time home buyer. It can help them be more competitive in a market where we are competing and there are multiple offers, because previously you used to only be able to pay what the home priced for. You couldn't pay more, but they've changed that. So if someone has maybe $15,000 in their pocket saved, and they want to use that MISHDA program, they may be able to use, $10,000 or $15,000 they've saved on their own to pay above and beyond what the house appraises for above asking. And MISHDA can cover the down payment, closing costs, prepaid. So there's smart ways to use that program. It does have a sales cap of $224,500. But, as a first-time home buyer, a lot of you are in that price range, and it's definitely helps you be more competitive in this crazy market with all these bids.
Yeah, appraisal guarantees and everything else. You got the pass and fails on inspections. Hey, the newest generation of realtors, we got one on with us right now. The hardest working, they're innovative. They're out there staging homes. They're willing to even spend a little money out of their own pocket to get you more money from the sale of your home. So find out what the great agents are out there and how they can benefit you. Jordan Goodman, you're definitely one of the good guys out there. So we appreciate having you on. If anyone here has a question about mortgages or real estate, 248-539-9797. We're going to dive into, Becky Ellie, always the refinance talk, because so many families now are taking advantage of it. Again, all this built-in equity with homes appreciating 18 to 25% from year to year. Could you believe it? Your home went up that much in value. You might be able to refinance, Becky, and pull some equity out and consolidate.
Yeah, and why wouldn't you? I mean, even if you bought your house within the last year and a half, 2 years, it is worth looking at for you. If you put 5% down and you're paying PMI, with what these sales and these homes are appreciating, you could actually get rid of PMI, possibly even maybe shorten your term and keep the payment pretty close to the same, depending on what the rate was at the time, especially if you bought in 2018. Because where the rates are at in comparison is just night and day. And I think part of a catalyst as well is why there's lack of inventory is because people have decided to stay. They are renovating their homes. They are taking the cash out and being like, okay, I don't want to get in the buyer's pool. So now I'm going to just transform this space into everything that I want. Obviously like COVID-19 and everyone having to stay home really kind of just, I think it transformed real estate in good and bad ways. And, I think that it just made people really kind of analyze where they're at. You have to love where you live right now. And I know Jordan can attest to that. When you're taking your clients from, in these different cities and you're living in Royal Oak and they want to move out to Grand Blanc. I mean, you got to be like, do you really want to live in Grand Blanc when your family's here? I mean, you got to really love where you're at because you can work from home now. It's not a necessity to drive to work because most employers are allowing you to still work from home.
Jordan?
I think I agree with everything she just said. Not to get too deep, but the pandemic, I think, has caused everybody to kind of reassess life a little bit and think about what everybody truly wants. And speaking to what Becky just said, it's bleeding into real estate in terms of people assessing what they really want in their homes. If they really want to stay in their home, or do they want to try and move somewhere else now and build something somewhere else. That's what we're seeing, and it's very different ends of the scale. So it's exciting time.
56% of the homes went under contract, usually within the first 2 weeks. Those numbers are astounding. We talk about it a little bit, Jordan. Again, most of the homes, they're staged, they're in move-in condition, but that's not every home. So if I said 56%, we've got over 40% that don't sell in the first 2 weeks. Talk to me a little bit about expectations, if you're looking to sell your house now, where your expectations should lie.
Managing expectations is always an important thing, right? It's always something an agent should do with their client, kind of just letting you know what to expect throughout the process. But now, I have clients who I'm going into initial listing appointments and they're talking about how, when should I expect to have multiple offers and when do you want to sit down and go over all the offers? And we haven't even put it on the market yet.
Who's showing up with a suitcase of money? I want it.
Right. Who are the cash buyers? Who's giving me the appraisal guarantee? the secrets are out. So everybody's kind of expecting that stuff now. And it's kind of, you gotta, it's okay if your property stays on the MLS for 7 days. It's not the end of the world. So you just kind of got to manage expectations along the process.
Where's
so if a house
going?
is saying, hold on, if a house is on the market for, let's just say 7 days, does that automatically get them the scarlet letter, right? Because people are so spoiled, right? Because you have these expectations that.
I had someone ready to jump off a ledge on the 6th night going into the 7th day. Why aren't we under contract? Why don't we have why aren't we over asking? What's wrong with my house? We sold for over asking. It took like maybe a day and a half longer. It's the market. The market sometimes will sell in 24 hours. Sometimes will sell in a week. Sometimes, stuff also happens at the other end with the buyers. Life happens and they can't make it to showing. So it's just managing expectations. I truly believe has never been more important. It comes back to the whole emotion thing. I get calls at 11:30 at night, people freaking out. So it's just kind of dealing with all that.
Maybe real estate is a tougher job than we always, you guys just.
It's a mental job. It's mental. You got emotions.
I actually like what Lisa said earlier. It's a lot of listening between the lines. I'm going to steal that. Sorry, I don't know if I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're all good. No, it's true. And Lisa nailed it when she said that. It's definitely emotional. Obviously, we understand the emotions. We do this for a living. So when you guys are coming to us, our listeners are coming to us with your questions, your expectations, don't be embarrassed to ask us or tell us how you're feeling, because we understand, because we're dealing with it all the time. So we're not trying to desensitize the fact that, you're buying and selling and you're trying to move and you got your kids in school and all those things, so don't take it like that. Just know that you can trust us. We're here to advocate for you, and we've been through it all. We've seen it all. And, we're here to help you navigate through not only the payment, the down payment, the, like that anxiety feeling you get knowing you're going to have to write a check for $20,000. I understand. So that's why you can talk to us about those things. You can talk to Jordan about those things. He's lived all over, like the United States in great places. And, Harvey and Lisa, we get it. So don't be embarrassed to tell us the things that, because I feel like sometimes people don't tell us the things that they tell you, Jordan. Like they get it they'll ask the real estate agent stuff that they should be asking us sometimes. And I was always like, you can just come talk to me. I'm cool.
Yeah. Call us anytime with that kind of stuff.
I think it just comes out easier in the conversations we have.
Yeah,
you guys are having coffee. You're driving around, right? You're stopping now at the restaurant. So there's a little bit more socializing, maybe.
Well, it's exciting when you walk into a home and you see something they like. It's, you see their eyes light up and stuff like that. So you're having emotional conversations on the spot.
Yeah.
No, totally fun stuff. All right, we got open lines all morning long, 248-539-9797. Definitely want to hear from you. Refinancing is always a must. Definitely, if there's an opportunity there, take a look. Call your lender or call us at Capital Mortgage Funding. We wanted to hear from you. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. This time of year is a little tricky, Lisa Lawson. Those summer taxes are due on July 1st, and it's a little different whether you have an escrow account or not an escrow account. But Lisa, if you can sort of easily explain, we have to take a little bit more money if we close you in June, because that summer tax bill, we don't know what it's going to be yet.
Yep. So we don't want to set up an escrow account if you have one and set it up for a shortage. So since the tax bills aren't out yet and you're closing and you have to skip the next month after closing, we weren't still not going to get that bill. So we pad that usually, and it just depends on the area, but it's usually not significant, 15, 10, 20%, depending where you're at. But we want to make sure that your escrow account isn't a shortage and your payment isn't going to double later because we didn't put enough money in there. And then if you don't have an escrow account and you're in the middle of refinancing, people don't understand that they're going to have you bring the summer tax bill to closing because, again, there's no payment due. They have to make sure that it's paid. So if you're closing in that month of July and or the month before, and we have no mortgage payment due in July and your first payment is not due until August, you're going to be told that you have to bring either a paid receipt or bring the funds to close for whatever they anticipate your summer tax bill to be.
Yeah, this time of year, it's just a little bit tricky and everyone's situation is just a little bit different. So an underwriter may look at it and say, you know what, if you have an escrow waiver and you've got enough money in savings, then we're okay without you paying the taxes. But if not, you might have to go ahead and get those taxes paid. You don't want to start getting liens on your property and stuff. And refinancing gives you this great opportunity, if you haven't set aside that money or if your property taxes are going to be going up, to take a look at rolling in the new escrow account. So again, anyone out there listening, another great reason to refinance your house, resetting up that escrow account, maybe dropping a few years off your mortgage. There's a lot of things you can do to save yourself money and be successful with mortgages. Get the right people involved. Again, 248-539-9797. Lisa, I like that little bit you do about refinancing. And then also, Becky, let me throw this in. Becky, when families refinance, I got some guys and I'm like, look, you're going to skip a house payment. You're getting a refund of your old escrow account. It's not a bad way to start the summer off.
No, absolutely not. And the thing is like what we were just talking about is the summer tax bill is very relevant, whether you're buying or refinancing. So even if you're buying, it's going to come into play, because if you're closing on a property in June or July and that summer tax bill is not out yet, that's now you as the buyer's responsibility, which means that's going to have to be added to your funds if your lender didn't already, account for those things. So it definitely makes sense to, I have a couple where their escrow is shorted. I looked at their payment. I was like, why is your payment? I'm like, it just does not make sense. Why is your payment $1,400? And whatever their current servicer was, there was a shortage in their escrow, and they really overcompensated in their escrow account to offset whatever shortage there was. And it made no sense whatsoever. So we're resetting the scale. We're taking into account the new summer tax bill. And, now they're going to be saving $200 a month. We're going to be good to go. And that's definitely something you want to take advantage of.
Make that phone call. Rates aren't going to stay down forever. 248-539-9797. All your calls right when we come back.
Hi, Harry Glanson Danberg from Capital Mortgage Funding. Over 30 years in the mortgage banking industry, hundreds of thousands of families served. Let us serve you. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
248-539-9797. It's a Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. I'm Harvey Freed. We got Becky Alley, Lisa Lawson. We're the mortgage people. Jordan Goodman, DOBI Real Estate. He's the real estate guy. 248-539-9797. If you are buying or selling a house, you better get the right people involved. I joke about it all the time. And we were, in between breaks, we have some other conversations going on. I've seen some crazy addendums this year. I don't even know if they're in the Queen's English. You got listing agents signing them, selling agents, buyers. Folks, you better get professional people involved in this buying and selling of a house. Becky, Lisa, and I are dealing with it daily. Wouldn't you agree, guys? And I'll leave it up to my mortgage panel. Eight out of 10 transactions are closing perfectly. Families, we're hugging it out. It's great. They go smooth. But it is always that one or two each month where it's just blown out of the water, where the house won't come in close enough, where they can't make up the appraisal difference, where it's a complete mess. Guys, jump in and help me out with this a little bit.
I mean, yeah, you got to read the contracts for sure. And when, we get a purchase agreement, right, and you see an appraisal guarantee, the first thing I do after I set it all up is I am recalling our client and I'm going over the worst case scenario, because the worst case scenario is obviously what you need to prepare for, because you can't plan on the house coming in at value when you wrote in a $15,000 appraisal guarantee, because the appraiser also sees that and they also are comparing your home and et cetera. So you need to have these conversations. But again, and then when it comes in, we're having these conversations again, because people only want to hear what they want to hear sometimes, even though we're telling them what they, they have to hear, right? So just like if you say a rate's going to be between 3 and 3 1/4, you're going to hear 3, right? You're always going to hear the best card, because that's just humans. That's just who we are. But in this market, who you surround yourself with, we're here to set you up for success. So when we're having these hard conversations up front, there's a reason for it. It's because we know that we need to make sure that you are comfortable. Like even when we're pre-approving someone, right, Lisa? Like we got to make sure that you are comfortable with bringing that top dollar should you want to, if you have to separate yourself from the pack.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's super important that we prepare people. And I give example cost estimates. Like you said, when we get a contract, you pick up the phone, you say, look, this is what this contract is written for. Here's your cost estimate. This is what you'll be bringing. However, if you have to kick in this appraisal guarantee, that's going to look like this. And they get 2 of them. And one's titled appraisal with appraisal guarantee, and and one is as written. And so they understand that, hopefully it comes in as written, but if it doesn't, you might be bringing the 10, 20, whatever you've written. I mean, I recently had one that wrote one for $41,000 appraisal guarantee. We were very lucky. She only needed to bring in 10 extra.
Oh,
but
good.
Hey, I sent that example. If you have to bring in $41,000, you're bringing this giant amount of money to close, and she was getting prepared. So, you have to know what you're doing and you have to be prepared. You just do.
Jordan, you young bloods, you guys got it figured out. You guys are creative. You got the strategies all set up. Escalation clauses, we're seeing those are back in full force. Addendum guarantees. Tell us a couple other strategies.
Escalation clauses are back more than I think. It's also a controversial topic. You get with these multiple offer situations. For example, an agent in my office had, I think, 14 offers on her home. 90% of them had escalation clauses. So then you're at a problem where you need to prove to each agent who's got the highest and best offer. So you're spending hours just literally digging through paperwork, taking pictures of the highest and best, going back and forth with the agents. And you have to prove this escalation clause beat out this one, but this one technically beats out this one, and the appraisal beats out this one. It's a lot of puzzle pieces right now, more than ever before.
We've heard some sellers.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, not to you, but explain to our listeners what an escalation clause, like what escalation clause are you speaking of, so that way they understand.
So an escalation clause, for example, and I just wrote this one. So let's say you wanted to win a house, you have your number you're going in at, but you don't want to get beat by a small amount. You don't want to get beat by $5,000. Okay. So let's say we're going to offer $390 on this home, but you don't want somebody to offer $394 and beat you. So you offer $390 with an escalation clause to beat the highest and best offer up to $4,000. So that way, or up to $5,000. So if somebody offers $394, you have a built-in clause that boosts your offer to $395. Granted, you're paying $395 for it now, but you just beat out that person who offered a little bit above you.
You don't want to lose that house for a couple $1,000s,
right,
Becky. That's for sure. Right? We have people that have been multiple bids, multiples, and they can't get the house accepted. So they're willing. They got a little flexibility.
Yeah, I mean, that's, and it's important to understand like what that means, because obviously you have to do everything that you're, to set yourself apart. So what Jordan's also talking about now is then, okay, now you have to prove it. So are they sending DU approvals? Are they sending the copy of the bank statements to show like, okay, how do you prove, because then you got to weed through that. So it's a lot more work. I feel like that the agents have seen this, these past couple of years, like that you guys have to really do so much more research ahead when you're trying to find that highest and best offer for your client, right? Because anyone can be like, I'm gonna, $1 million, but stuff falls apart, because some people are just throwing stuff out there just to set, to even see if they get their foot in the door.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to, Jordan, I was going to say, I'm not telling my client I'm not giving them the bank statements to anybody, but if the client wants to make an offer, that's maybe you could say, hey, you know what? Why don't we just scratch off a few things here? You scratch off the account number. Here's my bank statement. It shows I've got the cushion.
It's sticky, right? Because even with, nobody wants to give their bank, even with mortgages, it takes a little while to get that stuff. But and I myself am included, more agents than not, especially with some of the bigger escalation clauses, when you're getting to 50,000, stuff like that. They're asking for proof of funds up for just to make sure you have it in the bank. Because a lot of times it's not, it's nobody's fault, but a lot of times the agent on the other side won't even have that initial conversation with the buyer to make sure they have the funds in the bank. So then you're setting everybody up for disaster.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Inflation is the enemy of interest rates. We all know that. So get in there before the price of interest rates goes up. Why? They just go up a little bit. Maybe because the pandemic's about to end. We're opening up, not opening up completely, but definitely across the country. We're still watching to see what goes on. But there was just recently a pandemic. Boy, the other day I was somewhere and I was like, does anyone know there was a pandemic?
I know.
I mean, valet parkers were going car to car, no mask, touching everything, not cleaning their hands. And I'm like, okay, it's game on out there. So be careful, obviously. Hopefully the economy continues and we got this pandemic stuff behind us as the economy, especially here in Metro Detroit. Boy, the service industry just got walloped, and we're just reaching out to all of them. Get out there this weekend. And we see so many. Yeah, James, you're out there. We'll go down to Detroit. We'll go check it out. And all the restaurants around all of Metro Detroit out there. Little salute to all the hardworking people out there who actually hung in there and did the right thing with the money that they got. We lost you, Jordan. You might want to call back. We got a few minutes left. Jordan got knocked off, but he might call back here to get back on. Hey, Becky, I just want to go over a couple things here. Dive back into refinancing again. Interest rates still pretty close to all-time lows. Just so many opportunities out there. Beck, when we do the amortization charge and show a family, look, you got a couple years in on a 30-year. If we drop this rate and get you a 20-year, boy, the savings end up being $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. It's just huge when you can drop that term down.
I mean, even someone that, like last year, depending on, there was a little bit of a blip where the rates went up last year because of whatever was happening within the pandemic. And, I even have someone where it's like they're on a 20-year, they're pulling some cash out and the payment is still less than what their payment was currently without the cash, getting cash to do whatever they're going to do to their home. It makes sense, right? So, but you don't know until you call. So you can drive yourself crazy thinking about, well, should I not, should I this, should I that? Just give us a call. We're here to advocate. We'll run the numbers. If it doesn't make sense, we'll be like, listen, this is up to you, but I don't think it makes sense for you. I think you're better off staying where you're at, but you don't know until you call. And if you can drop your interest rate 0.5%, stay on a 20-year, why not? And it is going to make sense because it's going to come down to, I took advantage of this time, or I didn't. It's going to be like, dang, I got to wait for it to come back around.
All right. Definitely save your money up because the average sales price now, they just did a little quote just to end the month of May, $358,749. That's across the United States right now. Asking prices are up 14% from last year this time. Jordan, you're back on the air with us. We're a couple minutes before the end of the show. Give us your last thoughts. There's no doubt these prices aren't coming down.
I'm back because they're trying to get rid of me earlier, but I'm having too much fun right now. But no, it's like we were talking about earlier. People have been, saying for months. I've been saying, it's going to go down in a couple months, 4 months. It's hard for me to honestly give an opinion with intention behind. I don't believe that it's going to slow down anytime soon. So it's hard for me to predict when it's going to slow down.
Let's go out to Lisa Lawson for last thoughts. A rule of thumb, Lisa, people shouldn't spend more than 30%, old school, 30% on their housing expense. Just a couple quick comments about budgeting and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got a different scenario, and some people want to spend way less than that because they've got different needs, and some people need a little bit more with that, and we have loan programs that will accommodate. So, I wouldn't say that it's just it's a guideline, not a dead set rule, but if you're looking to get a good approval and understand what goes into it and make sure that you can afford the home that you're in, so you're not going to be house poor, give us a call. We'll walk you through it, break it all down for you.
Becky Alley, before we talk about your wedding, because every day of my life, I want to talk about Becky Alley's wedding coming up later this year. But Beck, final thoughts on if you're getting a mortgage or if you're out there shopping for a house, how to help some folks.
Listen, the sooner you start the conversation, the better. The days of, I want to see the house before you pull my credit are long gone because no one's going to even entertain, you being a serious buyer if you do not have a valid pre-approval. It's not going to happen. It's too competitive. So start the conversation. Let's see where the credit is. Let's get that fixed right now versus waiting, because you're not really going to even be entertained, like I said. So you want to be a buyer, we're here to help you. We're going to help you out with great agents like Jordan that's going to help write that offer that's going to make sure you understand what you're writing and set you apart and get you into that home ASAP.
All righty. Hey, Jordan Goodman, thanks for joining us, man. You're awesome. We're having you back. You know it.
Honestly, thanks for having me. This was a blast, guys. So I look forward to coming on again.
All right, fantastic. Jordan Goodman, DOBI Real Estate, Birmingham. You see their signs. Give us a call if you want to get that pre-approval. We'll set you up with Jordan and his entire staff over there for successful home ownership. That's the way to do it. Again, we got Pat Caputo coming up with sports. We appreciate all the callers. Call Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. For Lisa Lawson, Becky Alley, I'm Harvey Freed. We'll see you next Saturday.